Hi, good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So we started working with Docker, and for last session we installed Docker, and then we have seen Docker commands, and we started writing Docker files. Right? Just give me 2 minutes. Let us install Docker. For launching in default subnet and then default VPC and allow all security group. Okay. Okay, so let us install Docker. You guys can have shell scripting to install Docker. We have the official Docker install CentOS 8. So installation is very simple. Next, add this repos. And this is the command to install Docker softwares. Yes, Docker is installed and then let us start and enable. So once it is installed and started, actually we have to run this command user mod -ag, adding the CentOS user to the Docker group. Sorry, Docker and then CentOS. Docker and CentOS. Now you need to exit and log in again. Docker ps. So the command is working. And last session, we discussed Docker commands as well. So that one, yeah, so these are the commands. Docker images will list down the images you have in the server. Docker pull image name and then version. So by default, this will automatically pull from Docker Hub. And to create the container, Docker create. To display the running containers, Docker ps. To display all containers, including exited, stopped, and everything, it is Docker ps -a. Starting is Docker start container ID. Sorry, actually, this is yeah, container ID. And instead of running three commands like pull, create, and then start, you can run a single command, that is Docker run directly. And generally, containers will run in the foreground, but we want them we want them to run in the background. So that is why we will give -d, this detach mode. To stop the running container, Docker stop. To remove the container, Docker rm. To remove the images, Docker remove I means image. And then how to assign the port. So it is -p, host port and container port, naming the container -name, and how to log into the running container, Docker exit -it container ID and bash. If you see these commands, these are very simple and then self-explanatory. Right? The commands are simple. So these commands are to work with containers and images. But if you want to build your own images, so you should have Docker file. Docker file is the declarative way of creating the images. Okay. And we can build the images using this command. And then we started discussing our Docker file instructions, right? Docker file instructions. So we discussed from, and then from should be the first instruction in your Docker file. It represents which base OS you are referring to. And after that, we discussed run. Run command is used to configure the image, generally to install, to configure your image. And then CMD we discussed. CMD is, it will not execute at the time of image. It will execute at the time of container. Okay. So run instruction at the time of image building, right? Means like Docker build. CMD at the time of container creation. That is nothing but Docker run. So your Docker image should have at least one CMD instruction to run as a container. So that's what we discussed. Right? So these are our Docker files. Now let's continue with our instructions. After CMD, we have something called label. So label is just like a key value pair, like exactly like tags in our AWS. You will have key and then you can have value. So these labels are useful for filtering purpose. For example, if you have 1,000 covers, out of those 1,000 covers, if you want to 1,000 white color bags, okay, from all supermarkets. actually tags and labels is a very powerful concept in filtering, and then it can have some functionality as well. So white bags from all supermarkets, but you can tag them like orange, more, and then blue, Reliance. So like this, you can tag them so that you can easily filter. Just exactly same like that. In our Docker also, we have labeling concept. You can give key and then value. Okay. So yeah, you can give multiple labels also, just like we are giving name and then Terraform true environment like that. So you can mention the labels, multiple labels. So when you are mentioning multiple labels, you have to use this for some slash. That's it. So now let me create label. File name should be Docker file. Okay. Usually you can represent any base OS. Okay. Alma Linux 8, and then label I'm mentioning, and key course equal to DevOps. If you want multiple, then mention like this. Trainer equal to. So don't mention space. Okay, it should not have space between the key and value. Duration equal to 100 hours. Something like this. Okay, you should have this slash. Yeah, simple. That is the syntax. Now just push. And then we can pull. It clone for the first time. So first you need to build the image. Command is docker build -t. You can give any name, colon, version, dot. That is the command. Okay. So now if you just type docker images, you can see it is built. So if you want to see whether the labels are set or not, docker inspect and then image ID. So docker inspect is the command. So you can check all the information. Now let's go. You can see labels. Right? So how these labels are useful? Those are useful for the filtration purpose. So for example, you have multiple images. Like let me pull some images. Docker full nginx. Docker full CentOS. So we have 3 images now. Just imagine you have thousands of images. Out of that, how can you filter the image based on the label? So Docker images generally --, filter label equal to course equal to DevOps. Maybe the syntax is wrong. Docker images filter. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . So filter and then label equal to key equal to value, LABEL. What is our label? This is course equal to DevOps. So PS also caps, sorry. Okay, now you can see. So you are filtering based on the label. Label equal to key equal to value. So now you got the image. So that is the functionality of label. So mostly for the filtration criteria. So that is simple. And let's go to another instruction. Maintainer. So maintainer is generally deprecated. You can use label itself to mention the maintainer. Okay, just like author. And expose. So expose is used to tell the users what are the ports your container is using. Okay, so let me write that. So someone asked me a question, how can we understand which port the container is using? So you can pass that information through expose from Alma Linux 8. Now I want to install nginx-y, okay, and then expose. So expose. So this is expose. So if you want to tell your users which port your container is using or image is using, just mention port number / protocol. By default, it is TCP protocol. So 80/TCP. And what is the command? So this is the command. And remember this thing, expose is not adding any functionality. Okay, this is just for information. Okay. For example, so we have our CMD command already here, CMD instruction. So what we are doing here, docker build -t cmd:v1. Okay. I'm building the CMD. The flow is just, what is the flow generally? You write Docker file. You create image using Docker build, and then you run it as container. So this is the overall flow of working with images and containers. Okay. So now we got the images, Docker images, right? And if I run this Docker run in background -d, like -p80:80, and then it is the image ID. So this is the image ID. Docker ps. Let us inspect the image. Docker inspect. So let us see anywhere it is mentioned port number. Since I know this, I ran this command, Docker run -p80:80, because this is I know this already. It is opening port number 80, but someone is using your image. They don't know which port it is opening. So for them actually, so what you have to do is, so you need to give this information, expose, like let me push it. So now this image, there is no information at all. what is the port number it is using inside the image. Okay, if you see Docker inspect image, there is no information. You can see this. Okay, so now let us see our expose. Docker build -t expose v1 dot. Now Docker images. Now inspect this image, Docker inspect, and then image ID. Now if you see, there will be somewhere the port number is mentioned. You can see exposed ports. So it means generally before using your image, users can inspect the image and they can understand, okay, this image is going to open port number 80. Then I need to run my command like this, docker run -d -p 8080 :80. And yeah, let us see Docker images first. Docker run -d -p 8080 :80, and this is the image ID. Now Docker ps, so both are running. So expose is just to inform the user about the opening. It don't have any extra functionality. So you can see it will not actually open the port. It will just use as a documentation. Okay. env env is nothing but environment variables. Okay, so you know this, we have a lot of applications. For example, catalog wants to connect to MongoDB. So catalog needs MongoDB URL, port number, generally username and password. So all this information we need. So generally we call this as configuration. So this configuration you can supply through the environment variables. So that's what we were doing till now. Okay, so we are supplying as environment key value pairs. So similarly, you can supply environment also to the Docker images, that is through the env instruction. So env, let me write Docker file, and from Alma Linux 8 env, same name equal to Shivakumar. If you want to specify multiple, use this slash. Age equal to something 30, address Bangalore, something like that, or generally like, yeah. So you can have any key and then value. So these will be accessible within your container. Okay. So now let me push and build. Full. Docker build -t env :v1 dot. Docker images. Now Docker run. This is the image ID. And then env. Now you can see. So I am running the Docker container and I'm running this command and it is displaying the results. You can see address, name, and these all the default environment. Okay. Now if I run Docker ps -a, you can see. So this is the container I just ran and this is the command I have given. And it was created 22 seconds ago and it was exited. So just focus here, a simple point, but very powerful thing. I'm running the container. I am passing a command, env. So what container is doing? So you are creating container just for the purpose of env command. And it has served its purpose. Okay, it did its job, displaying the environment variables, and then it exited. So this is the container concept. Okay, just observe carefully. Docker run container ID and then command. So this command, what I have given here, env. So generally what this command will do, it will display the environment variables. Do you think it has any other job? Please respond in the chat. Generally also here, I will run env. So it have given me all the environment variables and the command got exited. So that's what I'm saying to Docker here. I'm running the container and giving the command so that it is giving the result and it is exiting. So that is the purpose of the Docker container. But what if I give Docker run container ID? Generally, you know this, right? Docker exec or sorry, Docker run nginx. We are running this Docker run -t -p 80:80 nginx. So this is what I'm running here, but I'm not passing any command. So where is the command? The command is here. So the command is given inside the Docker file. Okay, so that you no need to give. So what is this command doing here? Is it running for specific amount of time or it is running for infinitely? Running for specific time or infinite time? Please respond in the chat. Specific time or infinite? If specific time, how much? It's not running for specific time. It is running for infinite time. So that is what the container is always busy. If you just see this Docker ps -a. So this command is running from last 6 minutes, last 9 minutes. So that is why, that is how you can say your application is running. What does it mean? Your catalog is running. Like I am running this command, node.js server.js. So this command runs for infinite time. So till this command is running, you can say your catalog is running. If someone kills this command, then you can say your application is stopped. If you kill, you can say application is stopped. Just like your laptop. So when your laptop, until you shut down, okay, provided the power is there, until you shut down, you can say your laptop is running. So some process keeps your laptop running for infinite time until you shut down. So similarly here, this command makes your container running for infinite time, then you can call your application is running. So this command, it served its purpose and then it exited. But this command, it can never serve its purpose. It should continuously live for infinite time. Okay. Now let me check another thing. Docker something run like CentOS, and I'm giving ping google.com. So what is happening here? So this is continuously pinging google.com. But from the CentOS. So let me tell you. Let me kill this gem. Now I will use Docker run Ubuntu ping google.com. So now what will happen here? What is my host OS? So what is my server OS? What is my host OS? This CentOS. And I have a container here. So this OS is Ubuntu. So I ran this command, docker run ubuntu ping google.com. So now what Docker will do? So from Docker Hub, a image will be pulled, okay, and then a container is created, and the request will go from this container to google.com. So request is going from Ubuntu to the google.com. Okay, so that's what it is happening. Now you can see it is not able to find it locally, and it is pulling, and ping is not there inside Ubuntu. Ping is not exist. That's what I said, lightweight containers. So container cannot expect everything is available inside the image. Okay, let me take another one like nginx ping google.com. Ping command not found in nginx also. Else let me take Debian. It is also not found there. Alma Linux ping google.com. Okay, now you can see my host OS is CentOS. My container OS is Alma Linux. Now the request is going from container to the google.com, and it is for infinite time. So until you stop, this will be continuously running. Now I'm stopping. Now if I give ping -c 10 packets, so then what is its job? will send 10 packets and it will execute, it will exit. Okay. Now if you check Docker ps-a, now you can see it ran for 10 packets and then it got exited. So the command you are giving here, that will decide whether the container should run for infinite time or it should run its job and then exit. Okay. So now here I have environment. I don't have anything to run it continuously. So that is why. So this got exited. Now, for example, let me run this as Docker images, right? Docker run hyphen, let me don't give Docker run and then expose. And what I do here, Docker run container ID. What is the container ID of expose? This one. And I will run for sleep 10 seconds. So now what will happen? Please write in the chat. I just entered. Now it will sleep for 10 seconds and then it will exit. That's what I'm telling for the container to do. Okay. Now what I do, Docker run -d. I'm asking container to sleep for 100 seconds. And in background, just see this, in background, in detached mode. Docker ps, you can see your container is running for 100 seconds. Now you can exit Docker exec -it container ID and bash. Now you can run env command. You can see I ran expose, right? I took the expose container ID. But what I mean is you can log into this container within 100 seconds. After 100 seconds, the container will be automatically exited. Now you cannot log into the container. Okay. Docker images. Now let me take this env Docker run -d is env container ID and sleep for 20 seconds. Docker exec -it. Now within this 20 seconds, I can log in. Bash env. Now after 20 seconds, so this will automatically exit. Okay, let us wait. You can see it got automatically exited. So yeah, if it is your application, you will give the command that will make the container running for infinite time. Okay, so now let's have the command add. Before adding, let us have it copy. So copy is simple. It will copy the files from your local to image. Docker file from, for example, let me take nginx and then, so you can have some index.html here. Index.html. Echo hello, welcome to, just giving h1, welcome to Docker. So this is my index.html. I want to copy this. Just copy index.html and then USR share nginx html / index.html. Okay. So generally we have an index.html by default. I want to remove that rm-rs. I'm first removing the default HTML. Removing default HTML. Okay. And then copying our HTML. Now Docker pull, sorry, git pull Docker build -t copy v1 dot. Okay, it is done. Docker images Docker run -t -p 8081:80, and this is the image ID, and run Docker ps. Now if you just access with 8081, you should see our specific HTML. So copy instruction can copy the files from your local means within this folder only. Okay, just remember one thing. Files should be available in current directory where Docker file exists. Okay. So I'm copying the HTML file generally. So now if you want a website inside the folder, now you know we have our QI. So let me create one folder here, QI, and copying some files. Some website, a simple static website. Okay. Just copying some files there. And then Docker files, copy. Some file, our QI website, some static website. Now you will see how much easy it is to run a static website in our Docker container. Okay. So now here I will mention copy and then the files in QI. Everything in QI, it should be in user share nginx / HTML directory. So I'm copying my entire static website. Now let us push. And pull. I will give Docker build v2, for example. Docker images. So we have v1 and v2. Docker run -d. Let me take 8084 colon 80, and then I need to mention -p also. And this is the image ID. Now Docker ps. Now if you access with 8084, within few minutes, your static website is ready. You can see. So in a single T2.micro instance using Docker concept, you can see how many websites I am running. One website on port number 80, another website on port number 8080, another website on port number 8081, 8084. I am literally running 4 static websites. So that is what the resource utilization. Okay. Now this is running, and other 2 also running. Okay. So in a single server using Docker concepts, you can run many applications, but obviously with different ports. Okay. Now I want to push this image. So till now, what are we doing? Writing Docker files, building images, and running containers. Now, if you want to use my QI site, how can you use it? So I need to push to Docker Hub so that others can pull. Okay. So how can I push? So all of you should have account in Docker Hub. Okay. Let me check whether I have the account. I'm creating the account now in Docker Hub. Okay. So I just created the account. So now before pushing, I need to log in. So how can you log in? Docker login. Docker login. Your username, your password. Is the problem. If I sign up with Google. So let me sign up manually. Okay. info@joindevops.com. Forgot password. Join DevOps. Forgot password. Now instead of Google, I set up the password actually. Join DevOps. Okay. So login is done. Similarly, you need to log in using Docker login command. Your username and password. Okay. Login succeeded. So first you should log in, and then you can see I have lot of images. How can you push the image to the Docker Hub? So the format here is generally while pushing, what is the URL? Docker push URL slash username slash image name colon version. So this is the format your image should be when you are pushing. But Docker is automatically connected to Docker Hub. Generally, it should be Docker push docker.io slash your username join DevOps slash QI slash V1. So this should be the format. So docker.io, you don't need to give because by default it is docker.io, but username is mandatory. Otherwise, Docker cannot understand which user it should push the image. Okay. So now my image is not in that format. You can always retag Docker tag. I'm retagging the image, copy colon V2. Okay, copy colon V2. I'm retagging it. Generally docker.io. It is optional slash join DevOps slash QI colon V1. Now, if you see Docker images, yes, so this is my image. You can see the image ID is same. I just retagged it. Now, Docker push join DevOps slash QI colon V1. Now you can see it is pushing it. So this is my image. Now anybody can pull and run this image. Okay. How can you pull and run this image? Generally, Docker run -d -p 80 colon 80 join DevOps slash Q1 colon V1. So this is how you can run. Okay, let me do this. I'm logging out. Docker log out. Okay. And then Docker, let me remove all the images and containers. The ps-a-q. Okay, all containers are removed. Similarly, Docker RMI, Docker images -a-q. So everything is cleaned up. Docker images. Docker ps-a. So no containers are running. Let me remove this one also. Docker images. I don't have any images. I don't have any containers. I am logged out also from Docker. Now, if I run this command, Docker ps, now you can see within seconds, your container, your Docker pull the image. You can see pulling from. It is pulling, and then within seconds, your website is ready. Oh, mm, downloaded this image, but it is still showing the old one. Maybe the cache problem. Yeah, now you can see. So some one of you are in front of the laptop with Docker installed also, you can run this. Right? So it is lightning fast. I'm just pulling the image from Docker Hub, which was already built, and then running it within seconds. My website is up and running. Okay. So this is how the copy instruction working. And then next instruction, add. So add and copy, both are for the same purpose. Okay. So add is to copy the files from local to the container. Add also copy files from local to container, okay? But it has two extra options. What are those two extra options? Now let us see. Docker file from Alma Linux 8, add hello.txt to tmp folder I'm copying. So you should have hello.txt. Okay. So yeah, just like copy, the command is add. Now push pull Docker build -t add v1 dot Docker images. So now you can see Docker run -t running this image as container, sleep for 30 seconds. Docker ps Docker exec -it and bash. Go to temp, it should be available here. Okay. So add instruction is used to copy the files from local to the container, no image, exactly same as copy, but it has some two extra capabilities. It can, the first thing is it can directly get the content from internet and copy. Okay. For example, let me take this one. So this is the content, right? I want this to be downloaded inside the container. So now you can give add /temp/. Okay. Copy cannot get the content from internet directly, but add can do. Now let me push pull. So whenever Docker file is changed, you must rebuild it. Okay. Docker images. Docker run -t container and sleep for 60 seconds. Docker ps docker exec hyphen it container id and bash cd temp. You can see our content, our file is directly downloaded from internet. So this is one of the popular interview question: add versus copy. Okay, and then second, it can directly untar the file to the location. Generally, what we have to do, if you have any zip file, you need to copy it and then unzip it. But add, it can directly unzip it. So let me get some sample tar file. Sample tar file. For example, this one. This is the link. Okay, so this is the link. This is the file. File is downloaded. I'm just copying the file to our workspace. Repos, Docker files, add. Okay, so this is available. Sample one hyphen tar. Now add instruction. Exactly same as the copy. There is no difference. Sample one, sample hyphen one dot tar and inside temp direct. Okay, same. I change Docker file, pushing, pulling, rebuilding it. Now Docker images, run hyphen it bash. So now what I did, generally I will run in the background firstly for a few seconds and then I am exiting it, right? Execute. Generally Docker run hyphen t and then container id, sleep for 60 seconds, then Docker exec hyphen it and then so this is image and then container id and bash. So instead of two commands running like that, I can directly run Docker run hyphen it interactive. I want to log in and then image id bash command. Okay. Now I'm inside the container. You can just go to the temp and you can see sample hyphen one is already unzipped. Okay. Now exit. The container is automatically exited. Okay. So you have given the command bash. So until you are inside the container will live. Once you come out, the container will be exited. Okay, so that is add. It is very popular question, add versus copy. You can directly tell Add and copy also both are same, but add can have some extra functionalities. It can directly get the content from internet and it can directly enter the file to the specific location. Okay, that is about add instruction. We will use these instructions generally while creating images for our projects like RoboShop. Now entry point. So entry point, so this is CMD versus entry point. This is mandatory interview question and you must understand this clearly. Okay. So we can discuss this and then we can close the session for today. Entry point. Docker file. So let me copy the same thing here. Installing Nginx and then creating some index.html. Let me remove the default HTML. Okay, I'm running just taking the Alma Linux, installing Nginx, removing the default index HTML, that welcome page, and then I'm creating our own index.html. Okay, instead of CMD, let me give entry point here. Okay. Hit pull cd entry point docker build -t entry v1 dot. Okay, image is built. Now docker run -t -p 8085:80 and then image docker ps. So entry point is running. Now let us try to access. Okay, I'm able to see the content. Now what is the difference between CMD and entry point? Because entry point is also doing the same thing as CMD. Now the difference is, let me build CMD also. Docker build -t CMD:v1. This is built. Let me remove all the containers, running containers, or everything. Docker ps-a-q. Okay, nothing is running. We have images of entry point and then CMD. Now let me run CMD docker run -t -p 80:80 CMD:v1 and then ping google.com. What happened? Docker ps sorry, I don't want to run in the background. Background, if I run, cannot see that. Okay. Not in background. Let me run in foreground. So what is happening? Actually, my CMD container, it should run nginx. But instead of that, what it is doing, it is running pinggoogle.com. So by this, you can understand cmd command can be overridden by any command. Okay, so this is the first point. If you mention in your Docker file cmd and any command, it can be easily overridden from the terminal like this. Okay, but let us try the same with entry point. Entry colon v1. Now what it is saying? Invalid option ping. It means entry point cannot be overridden. Okay, which one is safe? Command or entry point? Please mention in the chat which one is safe. So entry point is safe. As a image builder, you don't want someone to replace your command. So in that case, just go for entry point. But we have some combination for best results. Combine both entry point and CMD. How is that? Let me take another example. I'm mentioning it as entry. A simple thing I'll write here. From Alma Linux 8, I'm giving entry point ping ping -c5 and then facebook.com. Okay, and yeah, let me write this. Git pull. Docker build -t entry colon v2 dot Docker run entry colon v2. So now it is running facebook.com. It is pinging facebook.com. Now if I give google.com, nothing is happening. Okay. So what's wrong here? Docker ps -a no run. So what is the command it has? It is happening. Just observe this. So this is the command I have given in entry point. Now, if I am giving something google.com here, so this is going and appending to that. Okay, you can see this. Now, the conclusion here is you can't override entry point. If you try to do, it will go and append to entry point. So this image, now it is hard coded to ping facebook.com. What if I want to ping different websites? So for that purpose, what I do here is I'm removing that. I'm not hard coding my image to ping specific website. Now I will give option to users to ping whichever website they want. Git pull. Now rebuild it. Okay. Now you run the same command. So now what is happening? So as we said, docker ps -a, and this is the one happening. Exactly same. Now till here I gave in entry point. Now whatever the website I am giving from the command line, so this is appending to this one. Now if I don't give anything, so it is not working because we don't know which website to ping. So this is the command happening. So for the best results, we will combine entry point with CMD, like yahoo.com I'm giving here. Now, if you run this, it pull. Now rebuild it. So whenever there is a change in Docker file, you must rebuild it. Okay, now you run. So what it is happening? It is pinging yahoo.com. So another conclusion. If user is not giving any options, CMD can supply arguments to entry point, right? So in my server, if I type ping -c5, obviously it will give me the same error because you are not telling to the command which server to ping. So that is why if user forgets to give the website to ping, it is supplied by yahoo.com. Now I don't want yahoo.com. Now I want google.com. Now you can see google.com is happening. So what is happening? This command you are giving here. So this will go and override this command. Right? If a user is not giving any option, CMD can supply arguments to entry point. And the fifth point, user can always override CMD through terminal. Okay, so this is the overall CMD versus entry point. If you are able to explain this, generally it will be very good. So how you explain CMD command, CMD instruction can be overridden. Entry point cannot be overridden. If you try to override entry point, it will go and append. For the best results, generally we used to combine CMD and entry point in our projects. So CMD is used to supply the default arguments. Obviously, user can always override CMD through the terminal. So whatever you give here, google.com, facebook.com, or yahoo.com, or something else, amazon.in, I doubt whether we are able to reach. Yeah. Okay. So this is going and appending to the CMD instruction. Then ping -c5 amazon.in. So now I can use this container to ping any website and check the connectivity. Right? So this is the purpose of CMD versus entry point. Okay. So we have a few more instructions left. That is user work directory argument. Volume is not required in Docker. We will handle it in Kubernetes. So user work directory argument and on build. So those four instructions we can complete in tomorrow's session. So any questions we can discuss. You have option to raise and please raise it. Yes, Satta.
Am I audible? You are
Yes, yes, you are
good.
audible.
So like a difference between CMD and entry point is like it can be overridden, right? CMD.
Yes.
Can you explain me one? Can you explain one more time this one CMD and entry point? That's it.
That's what I explained till now. I took almost 15 minutes to explain this.
No, sir.
Okay.
Just a short.
So this is very clear, bro. CMD command can be overridden by any command. And yeah, I understand. So you may understand maximum 50%, but you have to watch this again and practice it. Now, then it will be clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
Fine.
if you ask me to explain again, then I don't have any other option except to read this.
Okay. If I have any doubt, I will
Okay,
ask
just
you.
go ahead and then listen, practice once again, then you will be clear.
Okay. Thank you.
Alekia Garapati.
Yeah, hi, Shita. Good morning.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
So, like, uh, we are removing images or containers, right? We are giving command docker RMI, that command. So
Yeah,
when I'm trying, it's not taking single quotes.
that's
When
not
I have,
single quote actually. So that is left side to your keyboard. There is a symbol like this one
yes, yeah,
above the tab button. Left,
yeah,
complete left. So
yeah,
this is the one, not single quote. Single quote is this one.
yeah, okay,
I don't know what we call this. Let me search.
yeah. Actually, I'm giving like dollar off, so it's working. That
Something
much.
back tick. So this is called as back tick. It is above your tab.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one more thing.
Yeah.
Usually we are giving like Docker PS minus, I mean hyphen A, which are listing all the containers, right? We are
Mm.
having something called name. What's that name? Like, what's
It
that
is
name?
assigning the name to the containers.
Okay, so it will pick randomly from.
Yeah. Random dictionary, two dictionary words.
Oh,
If you want to give name, you can give hyphen hyphen name generally. Yesterday, I mean, last session we tried that, right? And we will use that also while practicing our RoboShop project.
okay. So it's like random name, right? It's
Yeah,
not someone who developed the image or
no,
not.
it's random. Docker is taking two random dictionary words.
Fine. And one more thing here, when we are deploying the application, host code can be anything, right? So
Yeah, it can be anything.
like if we are deploying like multiple applications on the same host, will it get overridden like second time or
So if you will
will it
get an
warn
error,
us?
port is already in use. You need to check, you need to take different port.
Okay, it will warn us, like it will show an
Yeah,
error.
it will give us an error.
Okay, Shiva, yeah, thanks.
So any other questions, please raise your hand. Okay, so this Docker file practicing is mandatory. Definitely you will face questions. So the questions is like this one. So someone of you can prepare a document for better understanding. Maybe Sattar, you can prepare a document. So the questions, these are mandatory questions. Here, this one. Run versus CMD, org versus CNV, and today we discussed add was copy, and CMD versus entry point. This one we will see in tomorrow's session. Okay. So these are mandatory questions. Someone can prepare the document on this. Any other questions from anyone? No questions? Then we can end the session. Have a nice day. See you in tomorrow's session. Bye bye.